Last month we took one winning ad from one of our brands and turned it into 7 well-performing variations of that ad within 2 hours. Same core angle, same winning messaging, but that repackaged into many fruitful iterations. A well-functioning iteration framework is what many brands miss. They find one winner, they scale it, and then they go on the search for the next one. Whereas the biggest brands find one winner, milk it to the least by finding exactly what works and replicating it over and over, instead of mainly relying on finding completely new winning ads. What's even better is that now with AI, you can speed up the process and do it within a few hours instead of within a few days. So today I'm showing you exactly how we do it. The whole framework, the prompts, and how to approach solid iterations. My name is William, and currently I'm growing a portfolio of 7 to 9 figure e-com brands with meta ads. With that being said, let's get into the exact framework. So what most brands don't really understand is that finding a winning ad is just 20% of the work. The other 80% is to identify why it is winning, ask the right questions to understand why it is winning, and repackage this winning element into many other ads that will be winning. So that's the difference between luck-based testing and actually data-backed testing. And if you skip this step, you basically always reset back to a brand that has almost no data, which is really wasteful, and you could have been much further if you don't skip this step. Now, what are actually the questions and the exact learnings we want to extract from that winning ad? Let me go over it. If you haven't documented that yet during your ideation, you want to write it down now. Number 1, which core fundamental human desire does this ad tap into? Number 2, what persona responded the best? This is especially valuable if you've run a split test, for example, 3 versions, each version testing a different persona based on the hook and then the same body. Then number 3, what actual emotion got evoked while watching the video? So not just, oh, this or this angle performed, but actually what is the psychological trigger that we pulled? What is the emotion that got people to actually take an action and buy from you? And then also throughout the script, what kind of objections did we overcome? Now, to demonstrate this process to you, I will just show you live how I do it for an example ad. You can do this fully manually, but if you have someone from the team doing this that is not that experienced yet, or if you just want some additional insights, or if you just want to speed it up, I recommend looking at it yourself, but then also using AI. Alright, so what we'll do here is actually just look up a winning ad from Rise. I picked this one. Let's quickly look at it so you actually know what we will be analyzing and so everything makes sense.
Do not buy Rise mushroom coffee. They told me it would help with bloating and digestion, but they didn't warn me how fast it would work. I've been sipping on this stuff for like a week and just look at my belly. Plus, I'm pretty sure the puffiness in my face is gone. You see, it's got 6 adaptogenic mushrooms in it, and they all have their own benefits, but they all work together like magic. And honestly, I thought it was going to taste like muddy dirt water. It's actually pretty good. But you know what? You go do all the crunches you want to do. I'm just going to keep sipping my mushroom coffee. Okay, I put the link down below, so go and grab a bag of this and see for yourself the many benefits. But don't take my word for it, although I am right.
Right, this is the ad. So basically what you want to do is open up Google Gemini. Actually before that, go here, go to download the thing, so you can actually upload it and Google Gemini will be able to analyze it for you. Now, to analyze it, this is the prompt. This is the winning ad that's absolutely crushing it for this brand Rise, and we put the link so it can actually also check out the whole product and understand it. I want to understand this ad better and understand why it's working so well, to take the winning element from it and create more winning ads from that core winning element. I want you to analyze not only the angle, but also the persona that's targeted, the emotion that's being evoked, and the exact psychological triggers that are pulled. Also analyze exactly what kind of objections are handled along the way. I just added this. Let's run it. Alright, now to analyze the ad and let's look at what it says. So first of all, it's no surprise this ad is crushing. It uses a classic direct response framework wrapped in the skin of an authentic lo-fi user-generated content video. It bypasses the "this is an ad" filter by looking like a guy just venting on the balcony. Here's a breakdown of the psychological machinery making this ad so effective. So first of all, the pattern interrupt hooked. I mean, yeah, this you probably also noticed from the very beginning, right? The negative hook. It works because it creates immediate cognitive dissonance. You accept a pitch, you get a warning. This focuses the viewer to stop scrolling to find out why they shouldn't buy it, only to realize the negative is actually a hyperbolic positive. It works too fast. So this is a classic framework. You might be familiar with it. Basically, you start with a negative hook and people kind of like it. Even though they know it's an ad, they kind of like it because it's engaging. And then they basically get to experience why this is a bad product, and you frame the benefits as negatives because they work like too well, so that you feel like the positives are already a negative. So here, next up, the persona. This should be already clear at the point of your ideation, because when you do the ideation, you definitely want to choose a persona you target. If you don't, then at least at this point you should analyze it. So basically the ad isn't targeting elite athletes or biohacking gurus, it's targeting the dead body middle-aged demographic, men and women who feel the effects of aging, bloating, slow metabolism, and puffiness. The busy professional, people who want health results but don't have 2 hours a day for the gym. The skeptic, people who have tried supplements before and been disappointed. By looking like a regular guy in a polo shirt on the balcony, he establishes instant peer-to-peer trust. Alright, it makes sense. So basically, as a learning, like no matter what we want to do with this message and how we want to repackage it, well, what we can already take from this is that we want to use someone very relatable, someone who's like, well, just an average guy basically, right? To also expand to a broader audience. If we have, for example, just the athletic demographic here, those are way more limited. Most people are average, so they take an average guy, right? Which makes a lot of sense. So for example, if you want to recreate something like this, or if you want to basically take the core message and put it into another video, then the main point is, of course, okay, use someone who's just as middle-aged, kind of average person as in this ad. Now, psychological triggers and emotions, curiosity gap, obviously with a negative hook, then visual proof, and this, for example, something really good, because many people would make ads where like people claim crazy things, but what's always better than to claim things is to actually show them, because that is visual proof. So they use it here. Then low friction, high reward. He compares drinking coffee to doing crunches. This is a magic pill trope. Getting the result of a workout just by switching your morning beverage. And then authority via ingredients. So basically the 6 adaptogenic mushrooms provides just enough scientific weight to justify the claims without being boring. And of course, we as marketers can also say, well, because it's something new, it's basically a new mechanism, right? People are more likely to trust it. If it would be just like another coffee drink or something like that without a new mechanism, people would be like, well, I tried something similar like this, it didn't work that well. But here, by mentioning the ingredients and the ingredients being different and basically the mechanism of the product being different, we circumvent the skepticism of the sophistication of the market and are able to make a new believable claim. Now, objection handling, and this ad was actually pretty heavy on this. For example, it probably tastes like dirt, right? This is what some people might be thinking because of how it looks. So this is handled by actually admitting that people would think that it tastes like this based on the look, and they even have like a visual that demonstrates that at that point in the script, but then taking the weight out of it by him confirming it's actually pretty good after taking a sip. Then I don't have time for another routine. How it's handled is just coffee. You just replace it with the coffee that you drink anyway. Then it's just another gimmick. This is also handled more subtly. Like they don't really mention like another gimmick or something like that, but people might be thinking that. And the visual evidence shows that it actually helps. Then a big objection here about the benefits. I need to work out to lose the gut. How it's handled, the with you do all the crunches you want line. Of course, like this is not really directly objection handling because nobody actually tells them they need to work out. But basically with every product or with every solution, people have something what they want and they have something what they are willing to do for it and something they are not willing to do for it. And in this case, people would be willing to drink another beverage, but they are not willing to work out as much. So this is why they put actually this line inside here. So then Gemini says here the secret sauce is authenticity to value ratio. The video feels like a FaceTime call from a friend. They are not flashy graphics, no studio lighting, and Yeah, very authentic. Key element. The winning element here is reverse psychology hook combined with visual transformation. With this ad, of course, it was kind of obvious because it was just a reverse psychology ad. But still at the same time, I know many people would just go and say, oh, this was a reverse psychology hook, so let's do more of these. But this was just the hook. The actual conversion mechanism was here to actually handle their objections and actually show visual proof that it's actually working. So what you can do now is actually keep engaging in the conversation. This is the analysis. So now we can ask it something more. So here I went, okay, based on this, into what kind of ad formats would you repackage it? How would you keep the core element while repackaging it into many different ad formats that are needed for creative diversity, since the, voice prompting went wrong here, but Andromeda meta update. So you can see the iteration framework is taking what works and then repackaging it into different formats. For example, static ads. For example, this one was an organic reverse psychology ad. So we can ask ourselves, if we take this core messaging, what else can we repackage it into? So obviously just talking from experience, since the main things that are making this work is the reverse psychology hook and the visual proof. We could repackage this winning messaging into something like a static ad and then say never buy rice, and then we show in the middle of the ad creative transformation basically before after, and then the subtext could be something like unless you want to lose the gut without working out. So you see, core winning elements, we took it, but we packaged it into a static ad. And this is exactly what the Andromeda update wants from us. Now, this was just one idea, like very simple and straightforward, video to static. If you have a static ad that's winning, you can also do static to video. You can also do video to video. Like this was just one video format, right? And now I guess Gemini came up with some other video formats that can also work with the core winning elements. So let's take a look at it. All right, so number one, the scientific breakdown. So here we basically take this organic talking video, but repackage it into a scientific breakdown video that is with an education overlay. So the pivot, keep the don't buy this hook. Then instead of just showing the belly, use a green screen to show a cross section of gut inflammation or a list of the 6 mushrooms. All right, creative change, use text to speech for the first 3 seconds to trigger a different sensory response than the original organic voice. All right, so yeah, we could like make this kind of AI mashup style ad where we have some B-rolls, but also some AI footage or some stock footage, and then the AI voice goes for something like, don't buy rice coffee before watching this. Now that would be, of course, more of a middle of funnel or bottom of funnel message, because we assume that people already know what rice is. But yeah, it makes sense, especially if we show the visual proof as well. We take those 2 winning elements and repackage it into something else, exactly what we want to do. All right, the silent scroller. High text meme format, 1:1 square or 9:16 vertical video with massive ugly captions in the middle of the frame. The hook, do not buy rice, is permanently burned into a bright yellow header bar at the top. To be honest, I don't like this. This is where the human experience and the human common sense still gets into play. Like you can just leave all of this to AI. Like this is a stupid idea. You don't want to have do not buy rice on the screen all the time. It's a great hook, but like you don't want to burn into their mind that they should not buy rice, even though they understand it's not meant serious, but we don't want to have it always on the screen. It would just go into the subconscious mind. So no, this is actually a bad idea. Let's skip this. Now let's skip a bit and look at number 4, the founder expert response authority format. Okay, so here we have a stitch or react video. The pivots start with the first 2 seconds of the original ad, then cut to a founder or nutritionist saying, he's right, if you aren't ready to buy new pants, don't buy our coffee. That's actually pretty good. So here we take the proven hook, but continue in a different way that will of course convince another audience and optimize for another audience. The idea would be that the authority figure or founder then speaks about how it actually works while showing visual proof, ideally even from multiple people, because, well, if it's the founder, they have of course the footage available from many people, not just one person. But this would still take the negative framing together with the visual proof and package that into still one video. All right, now number 5, the listicle, 3 reasons why, high retention, 3 reasons why I'll never go back to regular coffee. Okay, this is actually not related to our winning elements anymore. So yeah, you need to check the AI. It's of course not always perfect, but basically the initial breakdown was pretty good. And of course, then if you want to get more inspo, you can chat with the AI, but don't forget to use your own brain, because you can see some ideas don't really make that much sense. Now, another thing I always do here, and that is especially valuable for close iterations, not just like a full repackaging, but close iterations, is the following. We don't know, of course, the numbers of rice, but just to show you how I go about this, let's say we know it spends like $2,000 per day. So we could go and ask something like, this ad is spending $2,000 per day. If I want to make it into an ad that can spend $10,000 per day, what should I do? What are your ideas to unlock more scalability and improve this ad even more? And this is the prompt, and then we just send it and see what Gemini suggests. All right, so let's see what it has to say. First of all, scaling to that level requires mass appeal, broad targeting resonance, and bulletproof proof. I agree here. Yes, it needs more mass appeal and basically a broader resonance. In the Andromeda meta era, the algorithm needs to see that your ad can convert the coldest possible audience, people who don't even know they have a bloating problem. Also very true, if you want to scale further, you need to go past the product, solution, and sometimes even problem-aware stage and target unaware people. So let's see what it says for the blueprint to take this core winning element into a 10K per day spending ad. Number 1, the mashup. The current ad is one guy's opinion. To spend 10K per day, the algorithm needs to see volume. Volume equals truth. So the idea is open with the original do not buy this hook, but after the first 3 seconds, instead of just him, cut a rapid fire montage of 5 to 7 different people, different ages, genders, and ethnicities, all doing the loose pants pull. So this is actually pretty smart, because the thinking right now is not, okay, how can I convince just more people, but how can I convince a broader audience? A broader audience is different people. That means this ad needs to resonate. Like right now, it's indeed just one guy, and this guy would resonate with a specific audience, but not with all of the possible audience. So what it says here, have people of different ages, genders, and ethnicities to attract all of them as well and show them that, hey, like it can work for you. Literally, it isn't only this guy. And this is a pretty good move, especially right after the hook, because it keeps the winning hook element, but then makes this interesting for a broader audience, which is what we want when we want to make an ad even more scalable. Where it scales, it moves the claim from one lucky guy to this is a phenomenon. It broadens the persona bucket automatically. Absolutely true. Good move. Definitely worth test. So number 2 is interesting because it says higher production is important here. So for example, you need a version that feels organic but has scroll stopping clarity. And then it says try to remake the script but in a bright high-end kitchen signaling health and wellness. Or a morning routine setting. To be honest, I wouldn't necessarily say that, oh, reshooting it with higher production has more scalability. Not necessarily. Some of our best ads are very organic looking. But what I agree with is that retaking it in a high-end kitchen can definitely signal health and wellness. And also a morning routine setting, which this is all about. So this could even pull more people into watching the ad. Now number 3, and this is again a very good point. Like about this one, I'm not so sure. I wouldn't say necessarily, to be honest. But here number 3, to reach 10k per day, you need to convince the analytical buyer who thinks mushroom coffee for weight loss sounds like snake oil. Very good point. Just to say, oh, we have 6 mushrooms might convince some people, but other people will be like, yeah, so what? How does it actually work? So here the execution, when he mentions the 6 adaptogenic mushrooms, use a high quality 3D animation overlay or a clean graphic showing the mushrooms attacking cortisol or bloating in the gut. Why? This provides the unique mechanism. People don't buy mushroom coffee. They buy the way the mushrooms solve the problem. Well, this is a good idea, but I would improve the execution. Overall, I agree definitely with the first sentence here to actually back it up better. But then the way I would back it up is not by just some animation. We can have that animation as well, but actually diving deeper into the mechanism and explaining it in more detail. This could be combined well with this like more AI scientific breakdown ad. I'm not sure about this guy on the balcony. Like it wouldn't really fit in, right? Because he's not a doctor or anything. People would be like, why is he knowing that? So if this fits into the ad, this is actually a very good point, because many people will be still skeptic after just hearing, yeah, it works because it's mushrooms. It's like, okay, but why? So providing an actual explanation of the unique mechanism here can work really well and increase the scalability. Good point. Number 4, aggressive new habit framing. So here it kind of changes up the ads, to be honest. Like the hook is completely different. So yeah, you still need to filter through these. And this is why human expertise is important and why you want to actually learn how to do it yourself as well. Just with AI, you'll have some very questionable ideas as well. But it finishes with something actually useful to sustain 10k per day in ad spend on that ad alone. Your backend metrics must be elite. I would test these scale up tweaks. So it gives specific advice. I mean, here it just kind of, again, changes the whole hook. So I would take this with a grain of salt. But what is true again is that the hook rate should be elite. That means we want this to be as high as possible as long as we hook in relevant people and relevant audience. Now the hold rate, again, as long as possible, so everyone follows through the whole sales brief until they want to buy it. And the click-through rate needs to be, again, as high as possible, obviously. Here it suggests to put a stronger CTA by replacing Shop Now with check availability or take the 30-day challenge, because scarcity and challenges scale much better than direct sales pitches. That is true. Take the 30-day challenge is a bit out of context, so you would need to maybe reframe the whole script a bit around the challenge if you can actually promise a change within the first 30 days. Or another thing you can do is, of course, just add scarcity or urgency by using an offer. So you can see this is not completely perfect, but in combination with a human that actually can analyze stuff and understand what works and what not, this gives really good ideas. So for example, this idea of cutting to a rapid fire montage with many different people to increase scalability is pretty smart. And some of your ideas and those of the creative team might be better than this. And some of the things might be overseen by your team and you. And this is exactly what the AI helps with. So this is not a thing to take the thinking away from you, but it can help you see more things and basically more ideas to test. Now, after doing this, and you want to do this to every single ad of yours, you will know exactly why your ad worked and what you can change to make it even more scalable, and many different formats that you can repackage it into. Of course, you will need to adjust the brief, the script, also the visuals, but by keeping the core winning elements, you make sure that the iteration of it will resonate and either support your ad account or become the next big winner as well. Now, obviously, after you watch through the whole process, you can just take this, take the prompt and execute it yourself. All you need is here. However, if you're running a brand doing more than 100K per month and want a team that can analyze all your winning ads, analyze all your losing ads and also why they're losing, extracting all the learnings and producing iterations and a creative strategy from that will scale your brand to the next milestone, that's one of the things that I do for brands. I run this entire iteration flywheel as part of our growth system where we do creative strategy, ad production, brand positioning, ads management, funnel optimization, and everything you need to do to scale to 8 figures and beyond on Meta. If that sounds like what you need, click the first link in the description below, fill out a short form, and on a call, I'll look at your current ads, your current approach, find the biggest bottleneck and biggest opportunities, and show you exactly how I would approach this. Keep scaling. Bye.